Hi, welcome back. We are almost there, setting up our default global styles, ready to start building something. So in this lesson, let's finish up by defining our global button styles. Doing this will mean that we have a whole set of different button styles and colors available to us from a drop-down menu, and all globally editable in one place. Let's do it. You can see here I've added some example unstyled buttons on the style guide page, just so that you can more easily see the effect when we set various button global styles. Now on the left, first we have a default button, which currently has zero style whatsoever, none even coming from Bricks by default. Then examples of primary buttons at 3 sizes, small, medium and large. And then on the right, 3 secondary buttons, again, small, medium and large. Before we set any styles, let me explain how these work. I'll select the default button first. This first field here is just for the button text. And then you can see that we have size and style. Now on this one, I've left size at the default and style at none. So what you're looking at the moment is a button element just dropped onto the page. Of course, we haven't styled the default yet. Now I'll also select this one, primary at small size. We can set the button to be small, medium, large, or extra large. And then in style, here's where you can choose from primary, secondary, etc. Let's look at one more example, secondary medium. So see, obviously the size is medium and the style is secondary. You get the idea. Again, the styles that you see here right now on this canvas are just what Bricks has built in before we've set our own global styles. Oh, by the way, if I come back into the style dropdown, you might recognize this list from the color settings panel in theme styles that I earlier told you not to use. And granted, really you can, and technically probably should, use classes instead to manage different button sizes and styles. But at this stage, when you may not be used to using classes, let's just use Bricks' built-in features for managing our button styles because it's easier to get your head around. If later you decide to handle all of this with classes, you can do so. There's nothing wrong with choosing button size and style from a drop-down. I do this on my own site, in fact. This way, the button styles are still all globally managed and editable, which is the important thing. It's all good. Let's set these styles then. Come into theme styles again. Down to edit the button element. First, you'll see we have some settings for the style of the button. Default, primary, secondary, even light and dark if you wanted. I'm just going to set default, primary and secondary here. And following that, your various sizes, small, medium, large, extra large. Let's go back up and attend to the styles first. So first, we set a default style. That way, if we just drop a button onto the canvas, it'll still look good. In typography, choose a color. I want my button text to be the same as body copy, so we just leave this alone. Font size. I'm going to set my font size slightly smaller on buttons because I know that my button text is going to be uppercase, which looks a bit bigger than standard body copy. So I'm going to go with 0.95 rem, a little bit smaller than body. I want button text centered and uppercase. Now we're going to type our button text normally and let global styles make them uppercase, which is great. Because if we later decide we want all our button text just to be standard case, we just come back and change it here in one place. Same font family as everything else. We don't set it again. Font weight. Let's go 600. And all the other styles can inherit the body. So I'll click out of typography. I want the button color by default to be what we are calling the secondary color in our color palette. A bit confusing, I know. It's just what we've called it in the palette. It's got nothing to do with the secondary button style. Into border. I don't want to set a border as such, but I do want to set a border radius, just to give our buttons nice rounded corners. Click the link icon so all our border radius values will change at once, and I'm going to go with 99 pixels all the way around, which makes it super round. Yeah, I'm using pixels here. Doesn't really matter in this case, as long as it's a big number. And that's it for the default button styles. Remember, this is the style, not the size. We don't get any chance to set the actual size here. Just notice what's happened here, by the way. The default typography affected all buttons, but the background color and border radius actually only affected the default button, even though I grant you the background color in our palette looks very similar to Brick's built-in primary color you see on the buttons. That is a complete coincidence. So let's style primary and secondary buttons now. First, typography. Now, I'm going to ignore that because it's already coming down from the default. You might notice that each size of button has a different corresponding font size. You can see smaller for the small, larger for the large, etc. Well, you do have the flexibility if you want to set a font size in these styles like primary and secondary, as well as in the sizes like small and large. But I'm going to worry about the size of the text when we come to the button size settings. Let's move on. Background. I'll choose the yellow again from our palette. Border. I'm going to set the same radius. That's affected all the primary buttons, as you can see. Secondary buttons. I want the purple background color for these, which confusingly is called primary in our palette. Sorry, it doesn't matter though. Same border radius. It's a shame that the default border radius styles don't automatically trickle down to the other styles actually, but it's not a big hardship. I'm ignoring the light and dark styles, but you could set those if you wanted to. Okay, down to sizes. Here's where you dictate the size of the button with two things, padding and typography. So for typography, meaning the text size, Bricks has some built-in default text sizes anyway, for small, medium, large, as you can see on the canvas. I actually like those as they are, so I'm just going to leave Bricks at its defaults. If you want to set specifics to override those Bricks default text sizes, go ahead. I'm just going to alter some paddings. For small buttons, notice these by default are set in M. I want these in rem, so following our nice 8-point grid, top and bottom padding can be 0.5 rem. That equates obviously to 8 pixels, half of 1 rem. And left and right, how about 1.5 rem? Great. Medium, 2.5 rem, left and right. And 1 rem, top and bottom. And then large. I'll go 1 rem top and bottom again. And how about 4 rem left and right? Again, you can see all I have to do is choose from either 0.5 or single whole numbers. Perfect. Now we have an extra large option here as well, but I think we have more than enough options here to last us. And that's our global button styles all set. Your task now is to set your own button styles. You can copy mine if you like to follow along. I've dropped all the values that I've used in this lesson below the video. And that's it. We've set all the global theme styles that we need to, and this module is complete. Nice work. Yeah, it takes a little time up front, but it's going to save a whole heap of time later, not only during development, but also for future maintenance. Next module, let's get on with building some layouts. I'll see you then.